Welcome to our live broadcast on Road to Indy TV. It is time for the final Mazda Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires race of the weekend, and we're going to end on a very high note. It is the Indy Lights Championship presented by Cooper Tires. The Mazda Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires is a one-of-a-kind driver development system that takes young racers out of karting and produces them to the top level of American open wheel racing, the Verizon IndyCar Series. And at the top of the Mazda Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires is the Indy Lights Championship. And as we're down here on pit lane, cars are going to be released shortly. We're walking around, and we are going to stop and talk to the man who, once the green flag flies today, has earned enough points to become the 2017 champion, Kyle Kaiser. Congratulations. Barring anything happening before the green flag, you're going to be the scholarship winner and the champion. What's going through your head right now down here on pit lane before the race?
Right now I'm just focused on going out there and racing the best I can. This is probably going to be my last race on the road to Indy. We're starting towards the back, so we got a lot of positions to make up to get to the front.
Now, starting in the back, you said it, you're going to have to do some passing, and that's fun. That's what you're here to do, is race drivers and enjoy your last weekend on the Mazda Road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires. 3 years in Indy Lights, several years on Pro Mazda Championship. What's this series done for you as a driver and then as a person?
This series has developed me into what I am now. I mean, I have to give a lot of credit to Juncos Racing. They've kind of guided me through the series, starting from Pro Mazda and working up through Indy Lights. But you gain so much experience racing at this level, and it prepares you for IndyCar better than anywhere else.
Okay, and then what I want to know is more of the technical aspects. I mean, these are incredibly powerful race cars, but the next step up is a Verizon IndyCar, and those are just monsters. What does driving these cars and participating in the actual racing in the Indy Lights Championship, what does that do for you to get ready for an IndyCar next year?
Well, these cars are pretty new. You know, they're 3 years old now. This is the third year they've run the new chassis, and from all the guys I've talked to that have moved up, they said the jump isn't insane. You're not going to lose any experience you've gained in this series. So I think it'll be a good, definitely a lot more horsepower, a lot more speed, but I think the transition will be nice, especially with the new aero kit they're going to have next year.
Kyle Kaiser, from all of us at the Mazda Road to Indy, congratulations on a phenomenal season here in 2017. Congrats on a great career, and it's been fun having you in the series. We wish you the best of luck representing the series in IndyCar, and just have a great last race.
Hey, thank you guys so much.
Kyle Kaiser, again, your champion once the green flag flies here in our last race of the weekend. It's the Soul Red finale. We're continuing to walk up and down pit lane here. I got Kyle Kimball with operations at Mazda Motorsports. Kyle, we talked a little bit at Mid-Ohio. We just got done talking to Kyle Kaiser. When this thing goes green, he effectively will be the 2017 champion, and that means that Mazda will have produced another driver into the IndyCar Series.
Yeah, it's pretty special. What we've been able to do is see the maturation that Kyle Kaiser has gone through on his time at the Mazda Road to Indy, and we see it all throughout the ladder. We just crowned Victor Franzoni in Pro Mazda. He's going to be moving up with the $700,000 scholarship into Indy Lights next year, and Victor's been with us, I think, 4 years now, and to see him progress, not only as a racer, but as a person, just like Kyle Kaiser, it's very, very special.
You talk about getting to enjoy the maturation and seeing these young drivers start at, I don't want to say the bottom, but the beginning of the Mazda Road to Indy, and then move their way up through Pro Mazda, Indy Lights. Kaiser's going to be racing in the Indy 500 next year. You've seen that with Ed Jones, Spencer Pigot the last 2 years. For Mazda, that's got to feel like a great success. John Doonan said it best last year, in my opinion. People keep coming up to you guys and saying, when's Mazda as a brand going to be in the Indy 500? Well, he said last year with 23 of the 33 drivers being graduates of the Mazda Road to Indy, you guys are already there.
We are already there, and this is a proven formula right now. If you come to the Mazda Road to Indy and this is where you choose to race, it's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take a little bit of effort, but you most likely will make it to the Verizon IndyCar Series, and that is the goal of all of these drivers on the Mazda Road to Indy. We wouldn't be able to do it without other great partners in Cooper Tires and Dan Anderson and Anderson Promotions, helping these young drivers get from USF 2000 all the way to Indy Lights and into the Verizon IndyCar Series.
Kyle Kimball, thanks for being down here on pit lane, and we appreciate the time. At this time, we need drivers to your cars. Again, at this time, we need all drivers to your car. We've got Colton Herta down here. He's going to be starting on the pole for this last race of the season. Colton, a quick word. Rainy conditions. That's going to be our first real, I think, true rain race of the year. Are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Just that's it. You're just ready to rock, right?
No, yeah, it's going to be a good race. It's going to be interesting. We don't really know what the weather's doing. It's starting to look like it's drying up, so we'll see.
All right, Colton Hurdy, your pole sitter here in the 16th and final round of the Indy Lights Championship presented by Cooper Tires. Folks, you're here to watch IndyCar racing. Well, why don't you grab a seat and get ready to watch the future of the Verizon IndyCar Series. It's the Soul Red finale here at Watkins Glen. We're getting ready to go racing one more time.
It's the final race of the 2017 Mazda Road to Indy season. It's going to be a big one. This is the Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires. And again, the Cooper Tire girls will fire things up. The drivers are all into their cars. They've got the seat belts buckled and cinched down. All they're waiting now is for the call to fire. Ladies and gentlemen, the final race of the season about to get underway, and we'll give it to the Cooper Tire girls to give us the command.
On behalf of everyone at Cooper Tires, drivers, start your Mazda engines.
And with that, the engines fire. We are about set to go. Last race of the year for the Mazda Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. It's wet at Watkins Glen. Get ready. This is going to be fun.
Indy Lights, presented by Cooper Tires, is the last step of the Mazda Road to Indy. Competition is more intense than ever as drivers compete not only for the championship, but for a chance to join the Verizon IndyCar Series and race at the Indianapolis 500.
These guys want to win races, and it shook it all up. This first time these guys have been on the wet conditions around here. And by the way, this track is so fast, and when it rains, it's still fast, but boy, when things go wrong, they go wrong quick. I was just out there in the two-seater, and it's a whole different environment when it's a wet track.
The engines are fired, and the cars are rolling off of pit lane, and they're going to start to come into the view of our three turn announcers for this finale here at Watkins Glen. As they make their way through the right-hander of turn number 1, they'll come to the view of the gentleman who will anchor the IndyCar broadcast later today. Working the turns for us here for Indy Lights, it's Mark Janes.
Thank you, Nick. Happy to be here at Watkins Glen, historic venue, most assuredly. They'll come downhill at the exit of turn number 1, which is getting a little on the slick side as Mother Nature continues to greet us with showers here today. Then it's a bad, fast portion of the race course, the S's, which could turn into a very treacherous portion of the race course. Fast because it's uphill, it's very forgiving. They'll use all of the racetrack through here. It's a short little set of S's until the end of it when they make a hard right-handed turn. Then it's a very long back straightaway, which leads them to almost a full throttle portion, one of the signature portions of this race course. It's called the inner loop, called the bus stop, whatever you prefer. It's fast and it's very tricky. Once they clear that, they come into the view of day first.
Yeah, I tell you, there are so many great venues that make up the Indy Lights Championship. Watkins Glen is certainly high atop that list, Mark Janes, a place known as the Mecca of North American road racing, backstretch uphill, like you described, 1,800 feet in length before reaching the bus stop chicane, going down a couple of gears, a right-left combo before setting up for a sweeping right-handed carousel known as the outer loop. Speeds are high through turn 5. Tendency is for the back end to snap around. I expect that to happen certainly in the wet conditions here today. But control that, and it's back downhill through the chute. And a left-hander entering the boot of this historic road course where they will come into the view of our Michael Young. Hi, Michael.
Good morning, David. First, thank you, sir. And I can see turn number 5, the outer loop from my vantage point about 60 feet up here in the mid-portion of the boot. The field now making their way through turn number 6. I can say this, it is extremely wet here in the boot, down by the toe, and I can see standing water in turn number 8, which is the heel of the boot as well. The field slowly making their way behind the Mazda pace car. It is going to be a very interesting race today. It is a very wet, very slick race course. This boot never really did dry out after the morning rains that we had this morning. Nick Gilman, we're in for a treat today, the final race of the 2017 Indy Lights season.
Mark Janes, Dave First, and Michael Young. You're not going to get any better than that. That trio out there calling the action here for this Indy Lights Soul Red finale here from Watkins Glen. We were going to have just one pace lap and let these boys loose for the final race of the season, but with the conditions being just, unbelievably slick as the rain continues to fall around this road course here at Watkins Glen, the clock will start when they cross the start-finish line, but we are going to give them one additional pace lap. Let's welcome in a couple of the gentlemen down on pit lane, just one in fact right now, and it is Mr. Mazda Road to Indy, the insider Rob Howden. What a great weekend. Conditions certainly going to be tricky today, but obviously a big weekend for all the folks at the Mazda Road to Indy as we've crowned 2 champions already, and we dropped the green flag. We're going to crown another one.
And yeah, Nick, this is the Soul Red finale for all these drivers. Of course, all three of the Mazda Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tire Series all on the schedule here this weekend. We crowned Oliver Askew as the champion in the USF 2000 Series. We just had a wet race as well, the first wet race of the year for the Pro Mazda Championship with the young Brazilian Victor Franzoni able to get the job done. Very impressive run for Victor as he outguns Anthony Martin for that championship. And of course now will run Indy Lights in 2018. We will be speaking with Victor a little later on here in the day. We'll see if we can't track down Oliver Askew as well. Now, as we've already said, Kyle Kaiser is on the racetrack right now. When he takes the green, he will be the champion of Indy Lights. And of course, very excited to watch what he's going to be able to do next year in the Indianapolis 500. Down here on pit lane, a lot of smiles, people looking back and forth at each other because it will be very interesting. They know this is the first wet race we've had. Nobody knows who's going to be quick. But one thing that happened, Nick Yeoman, we were sitting here and everybody said, hey, either rain or don't rain. Well, they got one thing. It is definitely raining down here. It's a full wet race. No worries about going dry now as the rain continues to fall here on pit lane.
No doubt about it, Rob Howden. Davey Hamilton, you were just out in the two-seater, and I thought, boy, you'd be the perfect person to talk about the conditions, but the way that they've changed here just in the last 5 minutes, how difficult is it going to be for these drivers?
Yeah, you know, you have to keep on top of it because at one point it was pretty dry down in turn 1 and 2, but totally raining and down in the boot and just through the carousel. So it's tricky, and you got to stay on top of it because they change so fast here. And from thinking you have good grip, the next time you come by, a lot of mist from the car in front of you. The vapor trails off the rear wings are crazy. So it's going to be a challenging day for these kids.
And from what we can see as they make their way through the bus stop one final time at pace lap speed, it is just absolutely hammering these race cars and the Rooster Tails. The visibility as you talk about is going to be very, very difficult. Here's the starting lineup for today's race. It's Colton Herta and Santi Urrutia on the front row. Yesterday, Herta scored his 7th pole of the season, leading all drivers by far. In row 2, it's Aaron Telitz and Nico Jamin. Row 3 sees Zachary Clayman DeMello alongside Shelby Blackstock. In row 4, a pair of Andretti Autosport teammates Ryan Norman and Dalton Kellett. In row 5, Mateus Laced and our championship winner Kyle Kaiser. In row 6, Nicholas DeFaro and Neil Alberico. And in the final row, all by himself, Juan Pedrejita. That makes it a 13-car field here at Watkins Glen. Michael Young, seeing these drivers start to gather some speed, move around, find a little more grip, maybe try to establish some sort of a racing line. But from what we can tell, as hard as it's beating down right now with the rain, this is going to be a very interesting start as they roar past you here for the final time under pace lap speed.
Indeed, Nick Yeoman. I will say this, as soon as they go by whatever tire track I see left by these Cooper Tire wet tires, it pretty much goes away. It is that wet down here. The field now making their way up the hill through turn number 9, starting to get in that formation 2x2s as they go in these rows and get set for the season finale. This start will be very, very interesting.
Pace car has pulled off at the exit of turn number 9. It is going to be a double file start with that white and blue Mazda of Colton Herta, the pole sitter, to the inside out of turn number 11. Santi Urrutia and the gold and black car for Bellardi Racing to the outside. They make their way through turn 10. Boy, those Rooster Tails you can rarely see about midway back. Out of turn 11, they will roar through the RPMs for the final time in 2017. We're going to go racing in the Indy Lights Series presented by Cooper Tires. Green flag is out. A good jump for Colton Herta. He'll protect the inside. Santi Urrutia moves to the outside. Aaron Telitz to the bottom. Urrutia is going to swing wide. Mark James, they're 3 wide for the lead.
Urrutia is going to pay the price for swinging wide. He's got to get back onto the racetrack. He almost ran out of room and caught the Armco with the left rear of that car. Meanwhile, Herta, a drag race with Aaron Telitz up the hill. They stay side by side. Herta's going to try to grab the advantage, and I got to be perfectly honest with you, Nick. Once we get to the first 5 cars, they disappear from my view because of tremendous Rooster Tails flying off the rear of those race cars. Down the back straightaway to the bus stop toward Dave First.
And through the bus stop, Colton Herta has the lead about, I'm going to call it 3 car lengths ahead of Santiago Urrutia. No, check that, Aaron Telitz. Telitz around Santiago Urrutia. Then it's another Carlin cars. Boy, difficult to tell further back in the pack who's doing what, but everyone's safely through the carousel as they head down the chute. Your way, Michael Young.
Boy, they are extremely slow coming down through the chute at turn number 6. Colton Herta with about a 6-car length advantage over second place Aaron Telitz. Then it's a machine of Santi Urrutia currently running third. Zachary Clayman DeMello starting to close in on the rear wing of Santi Urrutia. They nearly make contact in the toe. Now the run up the hill to the heel of the boot. Colton Herta, a car length advantage. Then it's Urrutia, Zachary Clayman DeMello, Nico Jamin, and Ryan Norman cleanly through the heel of the boot as they go through that heavy braking area. Nearly contact between Colton Herta and the leader, or I should say the leader, Colton Herta, and Aaron Telitz, but the field cleanly through an amazing first lap here at Watkins Glen.
And Davey, how about this battle for the lead? Is Telitz going to take a look to the outside of Herta as these drivers are sliding all over the place?
Probably a bad place to take that lead, and he chose not to wisely. But right now, I tell you what, the kids are doing a good job out there. I mean, it's very slick. It's a new environment for him. Colton Herta's probably got the most pressure because he's leading it. But Telitz, I tell you what, he looks really strong. You can see that he's running just out of the groove. Then he crosses over in the middle of the corner, out of the rubber, per se, because when there's wet conditions on the rubber that's laid down, it's even slicker. Yeah, here comes Telitz for the lead.
Telitz looks to the inside. He's going to outbrake him. He's going to grab that spot, but Mark Janes, Herta's going to try the crossover move.
Climbed on the binders, didn't have any grip, but he's able to get back into the throttle to the high side. Telitz goes to the corner, the right-hander sweeps around and grabs the spot. He'll slip in front of Colton Herta. Meanwhile, those two starting to check out a bit on Santi Urrutia. The car 13, that's Zachary Clayman DeMello trying to keep pace. We will see if Colton Herta can get that lead back as they make their way down that long back straightaway.
Growing up in southwestern Indiana, I cover a lot of hydroplane racing, and that's exactly what it looks like heading down this 1,800-foot back stretch here at Watkins Glen. Up and under, and now Colton Herta to the inside of Aaron Telitz. He grabs the point now in this race. Second lap, Colton Herta leads Aaron Telitz, followed by Santi Urrutia. Down the chute, they're heading your way once again, Michael Young.
And Colton Herta will not be denied. It's been that type of season for that young man. The learning curve has been very steep in these Indy Lights cars. Able to now gap Aaron Telitz by about 3 car lengths. Right behind him is Santi Urrutia, who is on the attack. So it's Colton Herta, Aaron Telitz, then Santi Urrutia. They've kind of broken away from 4th place Zachary Clayman DeMello. Aaron Telitz looks low out of the toe of the boot. It's still Colton Herta by 2 car lengths as Telitz starts to close the gap. Urrutia drops back ever so slightly. Now Telitz takes a look to the inside. They nearly make contact. Telitz goes around the front side of Colton Herta. Colton Herta checks up. Now Urrutia in the battle up to turn number 9.
Boy, what a great 3-car battle for the lead here at Watkins Glen. Aaron Telitz swings that Soul Red Mazda to the outside and then gets back to the inside. Colton Herta's car gets awful sideways as he falls back to 2nd, and he's got his hands full of Santi Urrutia. Through turn number 10, it's the left-hander, back through the right-hander of turn number 11, and onto the front straightaway. What a tremendous battle. Santi Urrutia now, he's going to take a look to the outside, gets right back in tow, and those 3 leaders will become one pack, leading behind Aaron Telitz down into turn number 1. Telitz leads Herta and Urrutia out of the right-hander, turn number 1. Here comes Colton Herta, though, Mark.
Telitz almost missed the corner again. He's braking late, Nick, and he's not finding a lot of grip. However, the gap's enough to allow him to pull away from Herta just a little bit. Last time by, Urrutia was well off the pace in terms of keeping pace with those front 2. During the boot, he was in the boot, he was able to close that gap. So, not much of a change as they went through here. This time, it's still Telitz, Herta, and Urrutia.
They spread out 3 wide, now single file as they funnel into the bus stop chicane, the inner loop here at Watkins Glen. Again, Aaron Telitz leads the way, but Colton Herta right on that rear wing of the number 9. Further back, then you see Santiago Urrutia. Then it's a long wait till you get back to Jamin for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Well, this field has certainly broken away. At least the top 3 cars have. That is Aaron Telitz in the lead. He's about a 2-car length advantage ahead of Colton Herta. Then it's Santi Urrutia. A ways back, you see Nico Jamin, who got around Zachary Clayman DeMello. Ryan Norman is currently running 6th. Down in the toe, it is Colton Herta. He looks to the outside of Aaron Telitz as they drag race up the boot to the heel of the boot. Aaron Telitz now about 5 car lengths. He is extremely strong in this portion of the course. Heavy braking as now Zachary Clayman DeMello looks at the inside of Nico Jamin. That is for that 4th position. Nearly runs wide there to Zachary Clayman DeMello. And now Santi Urrutia goes around Colton Herta.
Yeah, Urrutia moves to the inside, and he's going to grab that 2nd spot out of turn 9. Herta's going to try to get a gap and get a nice run to the inside. He can't do it, but it's Aaron Telitz now by about 7 or 8 car lengths. Let's get an update from a soaking wet pit lane and Rob Howden.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Nick, we're all trying to hide under some umbrellas here, but there is nothing but smiles for the people around here who actually are part of this Mazda Road to Indy program. Nick, it's amazing. Of course, John Noonan's down here. Chris Pantani's here as well. We're here to spin for Ryan Norman. But guys, I just want to tell you, this is amazing. These guys are all smiling, they're laughing. They take so much pride in these drivers, and what they do is they develop the Mazda Road to Indy. They're smiling, they're laughing, they're just shaking their head. They can't believe how great the action is here in the wet. And this is what this program does, Nick. It allows these guys to step up and show their talent in the wet.
Yeah, it's awful great racing as Ryan Norman again has spun at the exit of turn number 9. He's trying to get that car turned back around, and it looks like he is going to now. Aaron Telitz is your leader. Good battle, though, shaping up. Dave first for second as Santi Urrutia tries to hold on to it over Colton Herta.
You remember, Urrutia, he goes through the runoff area now in the inner loop, so he's going to lose a spot. Colton Herta now second as Urrutia gets back into the carousel. He is now third, so it runs Telitz, Herta, Urrutia, Jamin still fourth, and the 13 of Zachary Clayman-DeMello rounding out the top 5.
Throw the word cautious out of the window because these drivers have attacked this track since we dropped the green. Aaron Telitz now with a commanding lead, about, I'd say at least a second over Colton Herta. Santi Urrutia trying to make up the ground that he lost in the inner loop. Down at the toe, Santi Urrutia closes that gap on Colton Herta down to about 3 car lengths. There's the machine of Aaron Telitz. Now it's Colton Herta right behind him, Santi Urrutia. Then the 4th place running, Nico Jamin right behind him, Zachary Clayman-DeMello. Urrutia really goes deep into turn number 9, or should say turn number 8, the heel, and is able to get some traction up the hill. It's a drag race between Colton Herta and Santi Urrutia for second.
Boy, Davey, these two are just sliding all over the place, battling for second.
Yeah, they sure are. Oh, Urrutia on the outside of Herta. Herta's going to have to give him room. He's far enough up on him, but he's not going to make it.
Yeah, Herta's going to hold on to that position through turn number 10, the left-hander, and then they set up for the right-hander of turn 11. Herta looks like he may be able to open up a gap of about 4 or 5 car lengths. Ryan Norman did get that number 48 for Andretti Autosports spun back around, so he is at the tail of the field, way towards the back. Here comes Aaron Telitz, though. Mark Janes, what a nice gap for that young man as the battle for second continues to rage behind him.
Yeah, no question, he's much more comfortable than the two are in that battle for second as we see cars continue to swing wide, get up over the curving, and then rejoin as they start to set up for the S's. Herta pulls away a little bit, about 7 car lengths, in fact, for Colton Herta. Big save by Nico Jamin as he climbed back into the throttle up the S's. Zachary Clayman-DeMello is all by his lonesome. Meanwhile, Shelby Blackstock, he's engaged in a pretty good battle with Matthias Lace. Dave first.
One of the reasons Telitz has to be as happy as he comes out of the bus stop, that back end comes around, but he gathers it back up. The number 9 now cleanly through the carousel, but one of the reasons Aaron Telitz is so comfortable, he doesn't have that spray on his visor that everyone else behind him does, namely Colton Herta, namely Santiago Urrutia, as they make their way your way, Michael Young.
Yeah, and for Aaron Telitz, this season started ever so promising. The 2016 Pro Mazda champion has really improved throughout this season and his command of this field right now. He's about a 1.5 second advantage over second place running Colton Herta. Then it's Santi Urrutia. Urrutia's back end nearly steps out at the toe of the boot. So it's first place running Aaron Telitz, Colton Herta, then Santi Urrutia just now coming out of the toe. 4th place running Nico Jamin, and then Zachary Clayman-DeMello. Nice battle for that 6th position. That's Shelby Blackstock and Matthias Lace. They will battle down into turn number 9, the heel of the boot. Laced on the outside to the inside. Shelby Blackstock tries to block that position. Now they drag Lace up. It looks as if Matthias Lace will get the position.
Yeah, he will grab that spot and hold off Shelby Blackstock. Meanwhile, Colton Herta is not comfortable in that 2nd spot as Urrutia is about 3 or 4 car lengths behind. Let's check in on our championship leader and now winner as we took the green flag. Kyle Kaiser runs back in 11th, but Rob Howden, that's kind of beside the point. What a big weekend for that young man and that team Ricardo Juncos owns.
Ricky Juncos, 7 laps now in. It's now official. You guys have won your 2nd Indy Lights champion in 3 years. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's been a great year for us. Clearly the both championship in Pro Mazda and Indy Lights, so very happy for the whole team effort. It was a big year.
I know you had to get this 1 lap in the books to get it done, but congratulations. A great run for Victor as well in Pro Mazda. We'll talk to him later, but a Pro Mazda championship as well for Victor.
Yeah, it was good for him. It was very difficult, you know, because Anthony Martin and the guys were doing also, they're very good too, so it was really for anyone, right? We go to this weekend, we didn't know what's going to happen, so very, very happy for him.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nick Yeoman, the first team ever to win 2 Mazda Road to Indy championships in one season. Yoko's Racing Pro Mazda and Indy Lights champions for 2017.
Yeah, really excited to see how Victor Franzoni runs in Indy Lights next year, and then certainly for Kyle Kaiser in IndyCar in 2018. What a great battle, though, shaping up for the second position. Colton Herta has it, but Michael Young, Santi Urrutia searching all over the racetrack as he looks to the outside, trying to grab that second spot.
Indeed, he went to the inside, now right to the outside goes Santi Urrutia, tries to now duck to the inside as Colton Herta swings to the outside. Let's go back to turn 5, Dave first.
The 2017 Indy Lights champion has looped it around, entering the carousel here in turn 5. He's come to a stop, has refired that Mazda, and now it's back underway. But I tell you what, that could have been much, much worse. Kaiser exiting the bus stop, nearly made contact with that outside wall. Again, kept it under control. He's back underway.
And Michael Young, while our champion spun, you saw Santi Urrutia make that move on Colton Herta.
That was a great pass. There's another great pass further back in the field. Zachary Clayman DeMello and Mateus Lace. It is amazing to me. The rain's still pouring down, and as these cars go by, Nick Yeoman, the Rooster Tails, that mist just hangs in the air at least a minute or two after they go by. It is extremely wet, but we have some of the best racing we've had of all 2017.
6 laps in the books here at Watkins Glen. It's Telitz, Urrutia, Herta, Jamin, and Clayman DeMello, your top 5. Mateus Lace runs in 6th, and Mark James, Santi Urrutia taking the wide way around turn number 1.
Nick, he's done that every time. I mean, the first lap, on the opening lap, he almost caught the Armco because there was so much traffic to the bottom side. One thing's for sure, even when they're running, it doesn't matter whether they're running tightly together or they spread out a little bit like he and Herta are now. They first, when they head down that back straightaway toward you, they fan out a little bit, and that's simply to get out of that spray off the rear of that car in front of them.
No question about that, but they've got to funnel down single file as they hit the inner loop, as they do now. Now exit into the carousel. It's still Urrutia leading Herta around. That's the battle for second as it continues to heat up. And then Jamin, Zachary Clayman DeMello. We might have a battle for 5th later on as Mateus Lace is trying to make up a little ground on that 13 machine.
Santi Urrutia taking that wide line in turn 1. We saw that in the Pro Mazda Championship race earlier this morning. Anthony Martin took that line, finally got the no-no from race control, but it looked to be the quicker way. Santi Urrutia this time by holds that second place position over Colton Herta. It's about a 7/10 of a second gap from Santi Urrutia to Colton Herta. Aaron Telitz already up into turn number 9. Further back in the field, it's Nico Jamin running for 4th, and now that battle for 5th. It heated up last time, and it's heated up again. Zachary Clayman DeMello and his teammate Mateus Lace. Lace looks to the outside this time. Clayman DeMello woes that car down into the heel of the boot. Both cars cleanly through the turn, and then will not gain any advantage. It's still Zachary Clayman DeMello over his teammate Mateus Lace.
Just saw Juan Pedroita go around moments ago in turn 1, Davey. I mean, it doesn't matter. Aaron Telitz has a 6-second lead, but the conditions are so slick here as we just see a replay of the spin for our championship winner, Kyle Kaiser. I mean, it's treacherous for everybody out here.
Yeah, no, you watch the leader, Telitz, who, by the way, has a 6.5-second lead right now and is slowly pulling away. You watch the hand movements in his race car as well, just hanging on. Colton Herta, wow, is he driving the heck out of that? I mean, that car is everywhere, all over. He's driving it for all it's worth. He finds himself in that 3rd position. Now he's actually dropped back just a bit from 2nd place, Urrutia with a 3-second lead.
So let's give you a full field rundown here as we have 7 laps in the book, 7 of 25 here at Watkins Glen. Aaron Telitz is your leader by 6.7 seconds. Santi Urrutia runs in 2nd. He's put a nice little gap on Colton Herta now as they've got around the bus stop. Colton Herta runs in the 3rd spot. Nico Jamin runs in 4th. We just got a report that Mateus Lace just picked up the 5th spot around Zachary Clayman DeMello as those two have been battling very tightly throughout the course of this race. So that drops Zachary Clayman DeMello back to the 6th spot. Shelby Blackstock runs in 7th. Dalton Kellett is 8th. Neil Alberico is 9th. Nicholas DePero is 10th. And then you've got the 3 drivers that we've seen spin so far today. Kyle Kaiser, who runs in 11th. Juan Pedroita runs in 12th. And Ryan Norman is in 13th. And Davey, from a visual standpoint, for what these drivers are faced with, now they've gotten themselves separated where I imagine they can see a little bit. But boy, they're sliding around so much that the concentration factor has to really come in key here.
Yeah, without a question. And you watch these guys' lines, and they run outside of the preferred line. But as there's so much rain on the track right now, Nick, I think that it may be faster down in the line. I see that Telitz was out there wide. He stayed out that high groove, went off a couple times. Urrutia has done the same thing. But you watch Telitz now, he's more in that groove in some certain areas. We're in with Kaiser right now, and he's extremely wide, which that does a couple things. Makes the radius of the corner much larger, and it doesn't give you the angles you need to get on the accelerator quite as well. So every corner I'm sure is different. Some places still have that rubber down. It's super slick on with the rain on top of it. But there's other places where it's pretty much washed off, and they'll be a little faster in that.
It is Telitz, Urrutia, and Herta. Mark James, we've paid a lot of attention to those drivers in the front three. Let's check in a little bit further back as Nico Jamin runs in fourth, but it does appear that Matthias Leist has a pretty fast race car into turn number one as he runs in fifth.
Well, last time by, he made quick work of his teammate, Zachary Clayman DeMello. DeMello made a rather abrupt entry into turn number one and had trouble getting back into the throttle. Leist was able to stay in it a little deeper, if you will. No question he's closing on Nico Jamin. They both continue to pull away from Zachary Clayman DeMello. The car trying to keep pace is the 51 of Shelby Blackstock, but no luck in that regard as that battle exits the S's and heads towards the bus stop at day first.
Big gap, by the way, now as that battle for second that we covered 5-6 laps ago has really settled down. Herta lost a lot of distance on Santiago Urrutia, but I've been keeping an eye, on Matthias Leist. He got around Zachary Clayman DeMello, seeming more and more comfortable in these treacherous rainy conditions here at Watkins Glen.
And with this rain slowly subsiding, and granted it's still raining, but not nearly as hard as it was during the opening stages of this race, it seems like this track has become more treacherous. That battle now heating up for fourth as Nico Jamin hits the brakes at about the 300-foot marker down into the toe of the boot. Now the drag race up. Nico Jamin, the back end nearly steps out of the car. He saves it, but Matthias Leist is now there. Leist about 7 car lengths behind Nico Jamin. That will be the battle for fourth position. Nico Jamin cleanly through the heel of the boot, but Leist gets a nice run up. It's going to be a drag race up to turn number 9.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Matthias Leist is closing on Nico Jamin. It's about 4 or 5 car lengths. We'll keep you posted on that. But let's hear from one of our Mazda Road to Indy champions who is standing by on pit lane with Rob Howden.
Nick Yeoman, we have 3 very, very happy guys here today, obviously having won their respective championships. Oliver Askew, big championship win in Cooper Tires USF 2000 championship powered by Mazda. Your second scholarship in a row. You won the shootout last year at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca to get yourself into USF 2000, a $200,000 scholarship. This one's worth almost $400,000. You win the championship, you're gonna run Pro Mazda next year. What a whirlwind year for you, considering from last year, Team USA to here. Give me your thoughts. It's sunk in. You won yesterday. You had a chance to sleep on it.
Yeah, this is 3 scholarships now within 10 months, I think. So that's unbelievable for me. I could only dream of this happening. Can't thank everyone enough for giving me the support. I have so many great people around me, and I'm really looking forward to the future in Pro Mazda. I think we can put up some great results and win races there too.
A lot of consistency this year. I think that was the big thing. You came out of the box strong, but consistency all the way through to the end. Do you feel that's something you were able to develop through your karting career?
Yeah, of course. So I think being in a similar situation here with this championship, I've also been in the same situation in previous karting championships, so that definitely helped me a lot. And in this championship, the situation I was in the last round, it was quite close. So that I tried to turn it into a positive. So, and now in the future when I'm in this situation, I can know what to do.
Had a great chance to race for the Cape brothers, Nichols and Dominic, another driver championship for them. They've won so many of them. How did they help shape you a little bit? Because I know they've been doing this for so long that they really are driver coaches as well. They really work on your attitude and your mental game.
Yeah, I'm new to car racing, so this is my first full season, and they've definitely helped me a lot in all categories. I think especially off the track, in the engineer room, my feedback, and also on the track too. So I'm on a steep learning curve, and I continue to learn every single day.
Pro Mazda coming next year. I bet that March cannot come too quickly for you.
It cannot. 2018 starts now, and I'm looking forward to it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nick Yeoman, just one of the young drivers who has done so well here. As he just said, his first full year of racing, he's already got 3 scholarships, a Team USA scholarship, the Mazda Shootout scholarship, and now he's got the scholarship to run Pro Mazda. Oliver asks you on an absolutely steep learning curve trying to get to the Verizon IndyCar Series.
A talented young American in the pipeline, soon to be headed to the Pro Mazda Series. Well, Mateus Laced worked and worked and worked. He ran down Nico Jamin, and finally, out of turn number 9, he made that pass. Mark Janes Laced, the new driver in 4th position, sets up for turn number 1.
Yeah, you can see him closing little by little by little. Was able to grab that spot, and he now takes a little tighter line through turn number 1 than he has the past couple of times. He starts to pull away a little bit on Jamin at the entrance to the S's, and of course, Clayman DeMello trying to keep pace. He's well back. Can't catch him. 51, Shelby Blackstock. He runs well behind him. He's just now exiting the S's as Dave First. That battle we talked about works his way into the Mustang.
Colton Herta right now going through the carousel, taking a higher line that time by. Then further back, here comes the 26 of Laced on the charge. It'll be interesting to see if he can catch up with Herta, because Herta the last couple times by, really it seems like the handling is going away on that number 98 for Andretti Autosport. Zachary Clayman DeBello, then further back, it's Blackstock in 7th, Kellett in 8th, Michael Young. That battle, Lace might be creeping up.
Indeed he is, and it was interesting, you talk about Colton Herta, when he comes out of the toe of the boot, it literally takes him about 300 to 400 feet before that car really hooks up. He just has a handful until he gets about to the midway portion of the boot between the toe and the heel. Mateus Laced and Nico Jamin, Zachary Clayman DeMello now starting to close in on that 5th place running Nico Jamin. Shelby Blackstock all by himself. Further back, Dalton, Kellett, Indy Rico running, but no real battle with either of those drivers right now.
Across the line, Aaron Telitz leads another lap. Ryan Bellardi's car is running 1-2 here at Watkins Glen. Let's welcome in Jim Murphy, who's standing by with the car owners of those drivers running 1st and 2nd.
Got to be a pretty enjoyable sight out here, despite the rain, watching your drivers out there with all the skill 1 and 2 at this point in the race, Brian.
Yeah, no, they're both doing a fantastic job right now, just maintaining their pace. Their lines are fantastic. We couldn't be happier right now. I think Shelby's actually starting to put it together too, so it could get interesting here in the end.
It's been a tough season, but the last half of the season really has been strong for you guys, so that's got to be give you good momentum going into next season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got off to a little bit of a slow start, but we're finishing strong. We did last year as well, so the team has tremendous confidence. It's a great team effort all the way around.
All right, thank you. That's Brian Bellardi. He's going to keep an eye on those guys out there, Nick.
So with just 12 laps to go, making 13 laps to go, Aaron Telitz is your leader, Santi Rundi is 2nd. Davey, you've been kind of paying attention to timing scoring up front. Telitz has got a nice, healthy lead, but that seems to be evaporating while the water continues to balance race.
Yeah, here's the times they've been running. Tita's been holding his own, running basically 202s, 203s. Urrutia, the same. He was running right behind him, and sometimes just a little bit slower. The last lap, though, Titus must have made a bit of a mistake, or Urrutia found a little secret. He picked up 1.5 seconds. At that time, went from 6-second lead down to a 4.5-second lead. By the way, Lace in that 4th position, he also ran the same speed as the leader that time of Titus. So he gained 3 seconds that last lap on Herta. He's now 7 seconds behind.
So Telitz's gap is 4.6 seconds over Santi Rundi. That was at the final lap as Telitz makes his way across the start-finish line. Let's check and take a look at what that gap is on this lap. Across the start-finish line, and it is down to 4.0 seconds, and Urrutia just ran the fastest lap. So Mark Janes, slowly but surely, that gold lap car is creeping up on that Soul Red Mazda of Aaron Telitz.
Now let's lead on the mind's eye. We'll let you hear it. Here comes Telitz. There goes Urrutia. There's no question that gap not quite as wide as it was last time through, and Urrutia is able to go full throttle. He's still far enough back where he gets pretty good vision. Doesn't have to worry much yet about that spray, but he may very shortly.
You know, I go back to last year when Urrutia came in as the points leader, had some aspirations of winning the championship. Didn't happen, had a shredded tire, had to finish towards the back, and that really cost his championship hopes. He is slowly but surely reeling in Aaron Telitz, and whatever didn't happen last year might happen for Santiago Urrutia this time, and who knew about it in the wet. Very impressive here in this latter part of the race.
It'll be very interesting to see what happens with Santiago Urrutia next year. Had an opportunity to talk to that young Uruguayan earlier today. I said, what's going on about next year? He goes, we're going to make an announcement in 2 weeks at Sonoma. I said, any hint on what it is? And he thought for a second and said, no, I can't say anything yet. But Santiago Urrutia starting to close in on the leader, Aaron Telitz.
Tell you what, Dave, first, I've been watching a pretty good battle a little bit further back in the pack. Dalton Kellett and Neil Alberico. They've been slugging it out for the 8th position. About a couple car lengths separating those drivers as they set up for the bus stop.
Yeah, Alberico running 9th. DePero's 10th. DePero not really a player in all this, but we keep an eye on that other Andretti driver in that black and silver Mazda in the number 8 of Dalton Kellett. And then an accident coming out of the bus stop. That is Dalton Kellett as Nico DePero goes to the inside of Kellett. Kellett's come to a stop. Looks like there's some damage toward the rear end of that machine as we come to a full course yellow. No movement yet inside that machine. We assume he's okay, but the whole Maturation safety team, they're on top of it. Yep, a little movement now. Dalton Kellett's okay. Big contact, though, at the exit of the inner loop.
Yeah, he flipped the visor up, so Dalton Kellett, the Canadian driver, is okay. Davey, you just saw the replay of a pretty big lick for Dalton Kellett.
Yeah, you know what's happened is the rain is, these guys are getting confidence. They go a little faster every lap and a little faster every lap, and they get their confidence built up. But it looks like what happened there coming out of that bus stop, just a little too much throttle before the right-hander, and it just spun them tires that little bit. Round he goes into the Watkins Glen safer barrier, which is tire barrier. So it's better to hit than that guardrail for sure. He's out, he's okay, but that car's hurt. Now, last thing Telitz wanted to see is this, because he was losing. That last lap, he lost a half a second to Urrutia. Matter of fact, a little bit more than a half a second. So Urrutia is definitely pounding on, gaining time, and now he's going to be right behind him on this restart.
Good news is Dalton Kellett is okay, and we will update you on the cleanup. But while we've got some time, let's check back in with Rob Howden on pit lane.
Nick, a really great way to end the season in terms of trying to challenge our young drivers. We have not had any wet weather at all, and Chris Pantani from Cooper Tires here with me. We haven't had a chance to pull in any of these rain tires either, but a good test today in 2 different kind of levels of condition. It's full wet right now. We're not going to get a lot of tire wear, but this morning the track was drying up a little bit with Pro Mazda. What did you guys see out of your tires during that session?
The tires held up very well. Even though we had a blend line of a little bit of dry with some wet characteristics, the tires didn't blister. They came back fully treaded. In fact, we're pretty happy the way they all looked.
How about now with these guys out here? What do you guys tell these guys on how to set the tires up, how to drive the tires? Is there any kind of intricacies you guys can provide them with?
At this point, it's up to them. I mean, they're running a wet line, a little bit wider than they normally have to run. Tires are holding up well. With this rain coming down now, we don't have to worry about them heating up as much. And everything right now is working pretty well for us.
I know you follow the series very closely. I was on social media. You're at the majority of the events. We didn't know who was going to be quick coming in here in the Indy Lights program either. We asked a couple of guys and said, who do you think is going to be up front? What are your thoughts on Telitz and Urrutia doing so well?
I think they're both doing great right now, but my money is on Kaiser winning the championship, so I'm going to go with that bet. But coming down to the pike here, you have 2 great drivers out front, young drivers, highly talented. It's going to be fun to watch the last 13 laps.
Chris, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nick Yomi, you can see that was a real big stretch, him going for Kaiser to win the championship. 1-to-1 odds are the ones I like too.
Let him know. Let him know that was decided at the drop of the green flag. Playing it safe. I like the odds. So congratulations, obviously, to Kyle Kaiser, who's going to win this championship here at the conclusion of this event. And a big thank you to Chris Pantani and all the folks at Cooper Tires. They've been a great title sponsor over here over the last couple years for Indy Lights. And Davey, those rain tires, I mean, these guys have been sliding around. It's impossible to get the type of grip on a dry racetrack, but Cooper Tires looks like they brought a pretty good product that not only gives these guys some tires and some rubber to move around, but it's made for some good racing.
Yeah, exactly has it. I think we need to keep our eyes open for Urrutia, for one, because he has been faster than Telitz. But Laced, how about Laced? He was laying down laps 2 and 3 seconds faster than Colton Herta, but there was such a gap that I don't know if he would have caught him. But now that he starts right behind him, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Urrutia and Laced, those guys were probably the fastest 2 on the racetrack, running down the two American drivers that they were chasing. Telitz, obviously the leader, being run down by Urrutia, and Herta, the American, being run down by Matthias Laced there in the 4th position. So a full course caution as the cleanup continues after an accident, one-car accident involving Dalton Kellett, whose 2017 season is going to end on a disappointing note. It is Aaron Telitz, Santi Urrutia, Colton Herta, Matthias Laced, and Nico Jamin, the top 5. Let's hear from the Pro Mazda champion, Rob Howden. He's going to be running in this same Indy Lights series in 2018.
Nick, we already talked to Oliver Askew. Of course, we'll move on to Pro Mazda, but the Pro Mazda champion this year, Victor Franzoni. Has it sunk in yet, Victor, that you will be running in this particular Indy Lights category next year?
Yeah, it's crazy. Watch the Indy Lights, and it's really nice. And think that I'm gonna be driving next year. It's even nicer. So I'm really excited to start all the tests and start the season because I wanna drive those cars.
You're obviously an amazing story. You coming through USF 2000, you were having to get people to help you out with tires and help you out, maybe paying an entry fee, and teams knew your talent, so they would give you maybe a better deal to come racing with them, and you were able to score race wins. This year, you were going to start off with a couple of USF 2000 races. You end up in Pro Mazda. I can't believe that all came together for you. Impressive and amazing for you. What are your thoughts on just the way this whole season came together?
Yeah, it was all crazy. 1 week before, I discovered that I would be driving the Pro Mazda, and Jungles told me, you have to win. We have to win because it's the only chance. And I knew it was my only chance. I don't think I would do 2 years in Pro Mazda, and I won. So it was amazing. Everything worked perfect. So it's been really good. I still can't believe.
What about the pressure at the end of the season here? You win at Gateway, you come here with a tiny little lead, you end up winning both races. What was the pressure like trying to win this thing?
I was trying to don't think about championship. I was thinking about race. I wanted to win more race. I wanted to finish this season how I ended up last season, winning both races. And after Checker, I would check if I win or not the championship. And I did my job. I won both races and I won the championship, so it was good.
You've run for a couple different teams in your 4-year career in the Mazda Road Indy. How does Juncos Racing stack up?
Oh, it's awesome. Those guys, they really know what they're doing. That's why we won in Pro Mazda and they're winning in Indy Lights, so I'm really happy to be with them, and they're awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nick Yeoman, what a great young man here. Victor Franzoni, the first driver who's actually confirmed for the 2018 Indy Lights Series. We know a lot more we're going to lock in, but Victor Franzoni will be running the Soul Red Mazda next year.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rob Howden, for grabbing Oliver Askew and Victor Franzoni, our champions in the USF 2000 and Pro Mazda Series. And, of course, Rob will get a chance to talk to our champion, Kyle Kaiser, at the conclusion of this event. Davey, we were supposed to go green this time by, but it looks like Shelby Blackstock's had some problems there in the bus stop.
Yeah, you know, he was in line coming up to the bus stop. I seen him pull off on the runoff area. Just no power looked like. So the Hamacho safety crew's there. They have him hooked up. They're going to tow him out of harm's way right now. But I tell you, this rain, as Mark and all the corner workers can tell us, it's coming down harder now than it has all day.
Yeah, and as they make their way, the field makes their way out of turn 11. They're going to see 9 laps to go in 23 minutes. So it's going to be kind of tight whether we get this one in based on the full distance, 25 scheduled laps or 60 minutes. Jim Murphy, you've got more on that down there on pit lane here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, the crew of Colton Herta sitting back there in 3rd place. They really want this thing to go green. They think they've got something for it. They're raising an issue with the officials. They said, look, that's a team car for the guys up front. He's just sort of pulled off there. Let's make sure everything's above board. They know that the Bilardi guys wouldn't exactly mind a timed race. Colton Herta's guys, they want to go racing. They want to do it now.
Colton Herta's issue, though, Davey, I think needs to be that car behind him, Matthias Laced, who's been charging.
They may be careful what they wish for, because the guy behind him was like 3 seconds a lap faster than Colton. So unless Colton all of a sudden found something, because obviously he was leading this race, Telitz passed him, Urrutia passed him, and Laced was, like I say, 2 or 3 seconds a lap faster. So, you know, I know Colton's a great little driver and has a lot of confidence, but boy, I don't know if they were keeping up with Laced behind him, how fast he was.
1 to go here at Watkins Glen before we see the green flag. Let's hear from the driver that brought out this full course caution, Dalton Kellett, standing by with Jim Murphy.
Hey, Dalton, sometimes driving in the rain can be a total blast. You don't look like you had a lot of fun out there. What happened?
No, it was going all right. You know, I think we had, you know, we didn't really capitalize off the start, making some spots, but, you know, just really slick out there. Not really a lot of puddles or tracks training pretty well, but just really no grip on the tire compound.
All righty, well, we'll keep an eye on the rest of the guys out there. Dalton Kellett, glad you're okay. Sorry it was a short day, Nick.
Yep, it was. It was a pretty solid hit for Dalton Kellett, and we hope for a bright future for that driver from Canada as his sophomore season of the Indy Lights Series presented by Cooper Tires will come to a frustrating end with a 13th place finish. Dave, first, as the field makes their way through the bus stop, a report on what the teams, or what the Homacho safety team, I guess, has done with that disabled car of Shelby Blackstone.
They went ahead and hooked him up and pulled him back behind the fence. In fact, Shelby has climbed out of that number 51 for Bellardi Auto Racing, so he's okay. Not sure what the issue was, but that 51 now safely behind the wall here at the exit of the bus stop.
That'll go down as the old mechanical issue, Davey Hamilton. We don't know what's wrong. A lot of times they'll just chalk it up to a mechanical problem. And that's the tough thing when the car stops halfway out of the racetrack. It's not like you can diagnose it or figure it out.
Yeah, and one thing with it, water, you just never know with this. As many as electronics are in these race cars, it just takes one little bit of area to get wet to shut these things off. Hopefully it's a secluded area where on Shelby's car only you'll suffer an issue.
Or from out on pit lane.
Yeah, Nick, being told potentially it could have been a broken drive shaft for the car of number 51 Shelby Blackstock, and of course that would shut the power down and leave him on track. So again, potentially a broken half shaft, the drive shaft on that number 51 machine. But you know, for Shelby, a tough weekend. Obviously, he's been strong this year. I've been so impressed with the way he's been able to develop throughout the year. Really blended well with Bellardi Auto Racing. And guys, we watched him throughout this weekend. He was the top of the charts on Friday, and actually was in the top 5 for a majority of the weekend. I think he was probably not too happy to see this rain because he was very quick in the drive. But again, a solid season all around for Bellardi.
So we just got word. We thought we were going to go green, but no start from race control, and now we are getting word of red flag conditions. Maybe this rain coming down a little bit harder. We're hearing that the water in some of the lower portions of the racetrack starting to puddle. Michael Young, you're still out there in the booth. Give us an idea of just how hard this rain is starting to come down around this racetrack.
Yeah, it's pretty hard out here, Nick Yeoman. I have 2 campfires, or 2 campers still having their campfires lit. One going well, one has fizzled to not even a smolder any longer. So the campers doing their very best to try to keep dry. And as quick as I say, it's coming down hard. It sprinkled kind of holding off a little bit. So it's just been one of those weird days. This front, we had a heavy part of that band just go through. This is the back end of the rain shower that just went through, and then we hopefully keep our fingers crossed we'll be clear for the rest of the day. But this will be the end of the rain. Actually see some sunny skies to the west, but who knows if that's going to make it here in time for the end of this race.
How about Mark Janes out in turn number 1? Mark, the camera shots that we got, I know can't do it justice to what you guys are experiencing out there in the turns. Looks like it's just continuing to pound you guys out there in the corners.
Yeah, you know, it's starting to subside a bit as we speak, and the wind has died at least momentarily here at the entrance to the S's. It's a steady rain, no doubt, but I'll let go the optimism of Michael Young as I look to the west-northwest over the top of you guys there in the broadcast booth on the main straightaway. Skies are lightening in that direction. In other words, getting brighter, I should say, not with lightning, but they're getting brighter as we speak. And if we look to the east and the southeast, what just moved through here is awfully dark, and we can still see rain continue to fall. So, Nick, who knows if we can get this thing back underway and get to green, but it looks like for now, we may get a bit of a respite here over the next 15, 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, and I'm not, Davey, not sure how optimistic, because, you know, by rules, it's 25 laps or 60 minutes. So because of the busy schedule on these race weekends, you're only given so much time. So this red flag, hoping we get a chance to see these guys duke it out, but ultimately may see this one finish under the red and checkered.
Yeah, I'm not sure we're on schedule, and there's a TV schedule for everybody, and unfortunately it's tight here, the schedule at Watkins Glen, so it could go on time. I do see sun peeking out here on this front straightaway too. I see the umbrellas even coming down actually out here a little bit on the front straightaway. But boy, I see the cameras in the back where it's still pouring rain.
How about out in the bus stop? Dave first. That's my spot a little bit later today for the IndyCar race. Just the shine of some of the banners and the walls that you can see on the racetrack glistening off of, the pavement from, the rainfall of this that we've seen so far this morning. It's pretty impressive, But what's the puddling look like down there near Turn 5?
Yeah, it's it's pretty decent because of the banking that's involved here in the carousel. So it's all running off pretty well, and I don't think the puddling necessarily is an issue here in the carousel or in the bus stop area. I know you're coming out for the Verizon IndyCar Series race later this afternoon. There's some good news here because I'm watching some of the corner workers fire up the grill. They've got some brats on it right now. They've got some burgers. So if you want, I can put your name on one of those.
That sounds good. I like that idea. Maybe
is that okay?
You dry up the place a little bit. Is that going to be possible?
It's still raining here in the carousel, but yeah, it has let up substantially from where it was earlier. Of course, all of this is the remnants of Hurricane Harvey. We all saw what happened down in the Texas area in Houston, and obviously when you talk about Houston and racing, you got to think about A.J. Foyt, and they have done a great job and raising some money, selling some shirts here, and I believe they're also available online at IndyCar.com, the shopping area there. But all of the proceeds are going to the relief effort in the Houston and South Texas area. So we're thinking about you guys. You know, a lot of folks down there listen to us on IndyCar Radio. We want to say hi, and thoughts and prayers with you guys as you recover from that disastrous hurricane last week.
Want to echo those sentiments, Dave. First, Davey, we see just about all the Verizon IndyCar Series machines. Looks like it's a few of the Indy Lights machines as well, you know, with stickers, and I see on Kyle Kaiser's Texas Strong, the hashtag Texas Strong, is a lot of people here in the IndyCar paddock thinking of all the folks down in the Houston and surrounding areas, as they've got a long road to rebuild that community.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think every car and every team is doing some fundraising. I think A.J. Foyt team is one solely, not solely, but really behind the efforts. And talking to Larry and A.J. yesterday, they have not been home since St. Louis. They weren't able to. There's no airports open for them to land, so they spent the week at Indy and then came straight here. So all this that's happened, and fortunately, AJ and Larry and the team's property seems to be all okay. But they've yet to see it firsthand until tonight when they land after this race.
And I know a handful of IndyCar drivers, James Hinchcliffe, Graham Rahal, come to mind. There may have been others since then, but I know those two in particular are going to donate all of their winnings this weekend to the relief funds. Guys like Houston Texans defensive end J.J. Watt, who was trying to raise $200,000, $300,000, and the campaign is built up around $17 million. A lot of folks lending helping hands, companies, businesses, sports teams all over the country, and that's ultimately what these situations need, Davey, because from what we've seen, the toll that area has taken has just been substantial.
Yeah, without doubt. You love the feel-good stories, right, about how many people in this country. A sponsor of mine, longtime friend and sponsor, George Del Canto with Kingdom Racing, was evacuated from his house. Fortunately, he's back in it. Not a lot of damage. He was to be here at Watkins Glen next week for the SVRA race. He says, you know what, I'm staying here. I'm going to help the people that need to help it. And so you love all the help and the people reaching out to all the Texans. The stories I don't like is when you see a case of water for $50, in some areas.
Sure.
So some people take advantage of the disaster down there, and I hate to see that. But there's so many good people in this world and helping Texas. And I believe it. Texas is bigger and better, they say, and they'll come back strong.
It does kind of put it in perspective. Of course, we don't enjoy, getting rained on and getting drenched at a racetrack. Not nearly as much fun as if it was a beautiful, gorgeous day, but certainly mindful that there are others faced with, much different situations around the country in that Texas area. So we'll send all of our wishes to them as they continue to rebuild that community. It's Aaron Telitz, Santi Urrutia, Colton Herta, Mateus Laced, and Nico Jamin, the top five. Rob Howden working a red flag situation as those cars are parked on pit lane near you.
Yeah, I can confirm as well that the weather definitely is kind of letting up. It's I don't even think there's really any rain hardly falling down here on pit lane right now. And to kind of go back to what Chris Pantani from Cooper Tires says, I had a quick look at the tires walking up and down pit lane. They're absolutely perfect. So the conditions, of course, very treacherous for the drivers, but the Cooper Tires are holding up perfectly. Everything's good to go down here. And as I said, the rain's pretty much let up. It's just going to be whether or not the standing water is too dangerous for these drivers to get back out on track.
See some tractors out of the racetrack trying to push some of that water off of the low spots here around Watkins Glen. As again, this is going to be kind of a situation we're going to be faced with all day, Davey. I mean, it looks like this rain's going to be here for the majority of the day here.
Well, it depends on which weather app you look at. I see the rain stopping right here momentarily and not coming back until probably the end of the IndyCar race. So, but you just never know. And I think, honestly, these guys, I know they want to race. They don't want to be a timed race. They want to get all the laps in. And right now, I think they're ready to go. I mean, I'd fire these things up and let them go. I know there's a few tractors on track, but it looks everywhere I could see, as good as it was at the start of this race.
Let's talk a little bit about the Verizon IndyCar Series race that our coverage will start at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. At an hour and 15 minutes from right now. Unbelievable championship battle. Everyone chasing Joseph Newgarden, but boy, Scott Dixon with a great qualifying effort. He's going to start on the outside of the front row. Alexander Rossi gets his first career pole. It's going to make it for a fascinating race a little bit later today.
And the key thing is if it does rain, you kind of looked at the times of everybody in wet conditions this morning, and I'll have to say, Rossi was towards the top of that list. You've seen both the Foyt's cars towards the top of that list. I've seen some of the Penske cars that look like they're potentially struggling a little bit in the wet conditions. So, like I said, I really, it depends on what app you look at, but I don't see a downpour like this. I see it fairly dry conditions, or maybe as it was before this race started with the Indy Lights cars.
And, of course, the incredible comeback story. Sebastian Bourdais was very fast this morning in that warm-up session.
Yeah,
what a story that's been.
Well, I'll guarantee you he would just as soon sit. He's probably has the most experience in the wet conditions and is the most confident. So is Sato, I think, as well. But Bourdais, what a comeback story that would be if it. It was funny. I went down and talked to some of the drivers, and it was about half and half. Some of them go, "Man, I hope it's wet." Even Marco Andretti, which surprised me a little bit, saying, "Yeah, I like these conditions. Let's bring it on the wet conditions." But there's some of the guys going, "No, our car's so good in the dry. We want to stay dry. We don't want to gamble those risks." So we'll have to see. Right now, the radar's up, and it looks like, I don't know. It doesn't look good.
Yeah, working a system right now, and like you said, we may get a window here in a few minutes, but there may be more on the way. Back to pit lane and Rob Howden.
John Doonan, I know you take great pride when you see the drivers come through the Mazda Road to Indy and get into the Verizon IndyCar Series, or wherever any of your drivers that work, whether through the Road to Indy, the Road to 24, to see these young guys go out there in these really treacherous, tough rain conditions and show so well. Wow, what a performance.
Well, the Soul Red finale weekend, I think you coined that phrase, Rob, is always exciting, but Mother Nature's given us a lot to deal with here. But I think the entire Mazda Road to Indy is about educating drivers about all kinds of conditions, and they have shown quite well. Just to watch the car control of Colton Hertas and the Aaron Telitzes and these drivers up front, it's unbelievable. All of us are sitting here on the edge of our seats.
3 champions crowned, obviously, now. We'll do that tomorrow at the banquet. Got some great drivers coming in. Oliver Askew wins the scholarship, the shootout, then he wins the championship here. He's going to be in the Soul Red Pro Mazda PM18 next year. What are your thoughts on Oliver?
Well, he's done an amazing job to go from the shootout at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca last fall to not even a year to be winning 2 scholarships. Truly amazing. He's done a terrific job. We're proud of him and all the drivers that have run in the USF 17, and I can't imagine what he's going to do next year.
How about the development of Kyle Kaiser? 3 years in Indy Lights. I think those 3 years were a really good move for him, not to rush forward. He'll be in the Indianapolis 500 next year as a Mazda driver. I know you take great pride in that.
It's been fantastic. He and his father were racing Spec Miatas at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, so no matter what it is, you see Kyle, you see Aaron, and certainly Victor Franzoni. What a great story there.
John, thank you so much.
Thank you.
John Doonan, guys. Great stuff here on pit lane. Let's head back down to Jim Murphy.
One of the guys who will be watching this race as we go green in a few moments with special interest is Brian Herta. His son Colton, of course, sitting in the 3rd spot. Brian, as you watched your son develop as a racer, particularly strongly this season, what thoughts have gone through your head?
Just really proud. It's great to see him out here doing a great job. He had 7 poles this year, won some races, led a bunch of races. So, in terms of kind of our plan with him, he's way ahead of schedule. Hopefully he'll be able to come back and run lights again next year and challenge for the championship. But right now, this is really, really tricky conditions for all these guys. I think they're doing a great job, and look forward to seeing what happens here at the end of the race.
Talked to some parents who were themselves drivers before, and they said sometimes it's even harder to be on the outside of the car than it was being on the inside of the car.
Way harder.
All righty, there you have it. That's Brian Herta.
Appreciate that, Jim Murphy and Rob Howden, for those interviews down there on pit lane, as we got word that looks like things are letting it up. Not as much rain on pit lane. In fact, it just stopped raining down there on pit lane, so that's good news. Dave, first, you're out there near the bus stop in turn number 5. Your view of these ever-changing track conditions?
Yeah, well, they've been working on it the last 5 minutes or so. They've taken a couple old John Deere tractors. One of them had a big brush attached to the front end of that, and through the carousel a couple of times, it's literally brushed the standing water, if there is some, or whatever standing water there is, literally brushed it out of the way. And then also had a John Deere tractor with a big blower attached to the front end of that thing, and it went through the bus stop area a couple times trying to blow the water out of the way. By no means is it dry. There's still no racing line, but it is a little bit better than it was, say, 10 minutes or so ago. Back to pit lane, Rob Houghton.
Yeah, Dave, normally the drivers and the crews are not allowed to work on the cars at all during a red flag, but they are going to work right now on the number 48 of Ryan Norman. Recall that he spun coming out of the boot in turn number 8, backed it into the wall a little bit, so damage to the rear attenuator and damage to the right side of the wing. Series officials have deemed that a safety issue right now for both Ryan and should the wing come apart, so they're allowing him to put a new wing on. Again, normally we do not allow let any of the guys work on the cars at all during the red flag, but as a safety issue, they've been able to put a new wing on the car of Ryan Norman. Nick Yeoman, they are rolling off pit lane. We're going to go back racing here in the finale for the Indy Lights program.
Yeah, that's what we like to see as those engines have been refired and they are pulling off of pit lane. Clock is restarting, and Mark Janes, we're going to see a restart with just 7 laps to go here at Watkins Glen.
I just saw a couple of safety vehicles clear this area. Again, they brought the brooms through here on the front of those farm implements and got some puddled water out of the way at the entrance to the S's. We see what fans are scattered about here. Those that sought cover are returning, and Nick, we're happy to report for the most part, umbrellas have been tucked away for now, and the ponchos have had the hoods taken off, and everyone's settled in. The sky continues to brighten, and the pace continues to quicken. The Indy Lights finale here at Watkins Glen.
Davey, that looks like a little sunshine there over the S's.
Yeah, it's coming. I think that it will be dry for the rest of this race, it looks like, and I think that you'll see some, depending on it, looks like we hopefully go the rest of 8 to go. We should be able to get those all in. They did stop the clock, which was handy, but it's going to rush some of the other series between now and the IndyCar race. But it could dry out. There could be some dry lines on this racetrack. One thing that does, if it gets too dry, these rain tires wear out very quickly because they're super soft compound, so we'll have to keep an eye out for that as well.
Dave, first as those drivers make their way through the bus stop, I would assume, though, although at pace lap speed or caution speed, we're still seeing some rooster tails. A lot of water kicking out of the back of those racers.
A lot of water kicking out, and a couple of times they'll slow down, and it's almost as if they're trying to clean the tires a little bit. I don't know if that's exactly the case. In fact, there's a big backup now down the chute as they make that left-hander into the boot. Michael Young, you might have a better set of eyes on all of that, but that field is heading your way, led of course by Aaron Telitz.
Indeed, and that Mazda pace car starting to make its way about halfway down from the chute down to the toe of this boot. As I look to the skies in the west, the area is really clear. That cloud cover is just now starting to break up just over the western edge of the boot and the front straightaway. A few darker clouds, but it looks as if everything is starting to lighten up here at Watkins Glen International, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Looking forward to what has already been an extremely exciting race between Aaron Telitz, Sandy Arrutia, Colton Herta, further back Matthias Lace getting around Nico Jamin. I can only guess that these last 8 laps will be nothing but fireworks. Looking forward to the end of this 2017 campaign. It has been a good one here in the Indy Lights.
Yeah, this should be a lot of fun. A shootout to decide the final race of the 2017 season. It's been a great season at that. We've seen 7 different race winners, 7 different pole sitters, and certainly a championship battle that for the better part of 75 to 80% of this season was unbelievably tight. Kyle Kaiser is going to be the gentleman that hoists the trophy, but who's going to pick up the race win here at Watkins Glen as we are set to go racing, restart this event with 7 laps to go. A pace car is pulled off of the racetrack. Aaron Telitz has the field in tow. Santi Arrutia right underneath that rear wing. Colton Herta runs in third. Then you've got Matthias Laced and Nico Jamin. Out of turn number 11, they will accelerate. We're going to go racing once again here at Watkins Glen. Telitz with a nice jump, about a couple car lengths over Arrutia, as Colton Herta a couple car lengths behind Arrutia as well as they make their way into turn number 1.
Arrutia gets to the high side, opens up
at the bottom of the racetrack for Colton Herta. He can't take advantage. Now they go side by side to the entrance to the S's. Now Urrutia backs out just a little bit. That allows Telitz to grab the spot. Colton Herta is trying to keep pace, but Mateus Laced is losing the battle with that front three now as they disappear thanks to the Rooster Tails as they head toward the back straightaway. Aaron Telitz continues P1.
And nothing but Rooster Tails down that 1,800-foot backstretch here at legendary Watkins Glen, although Aaron Telitz, Santi Urrutia, and Colton Herta 1, 2, 3 through the bus stop, now through the carousel, single file. Then it's Mateus Laced, Jamin, Zachary Clayman DeMello, Neil Alberico, Nico DePero. They're heading your way, Michael Young.
Can't see nothing but Rooster Tails up at the outer loop. Now the field makes their way through the chute to the bottom. And the exit of turn number 6, Aaron Telitz already about 8 car lengths ahead of Santi Urrutia. Behind him, Colton Herta starting to close in on Santi Urrutia ever so slightly. The door opens as Santi Urrutia swings wide. Back end nearly steps out, but Santi Urrutia got a launch out of the toe of the boot. Now racing down to the heel. He'll take a look to the inside. Well, he tried to outbrake Aaron Telitz. Boy, Santi Urrutia has a rocket ship of a machine. Santi Urrutia now has a little charge coming up the hill into turn number 9. Closes that gap down to a car length.
Davey, that driver from Uruguay is hanging that car out through turn number 9.
Yeah, he sure is. He really gets a good run down there. That's where he was fast earlier and made his pass for the lead on Colton Herta. Seems like the rest of the track, Telitz seems to have it fairly well handled, but right through that boot and stuff, Urrutia just seems to be bullet fast.
Boy, a lap ago on the restart, Urrutia, a veteran move, backing out of the throttle through the S's. Otherwise, those two teammates might have touched, but with 6 laps to go, it's Aaron Telitz about 3 car lengths over Santi Urrutia into turn 1.
It's 38 feet wide at its narrowest point. That's the entrance to the boot. And they were going side by side till they got to that entrance. And as you said, Urrutia wisely backed out of it. The 9 of Telitz continues to pull away. Herta has a firm grasp on 3. Same for Mateus Laced in terms of P4 and the 27 of Nico Jamin. So they sorted themselves out nicely in just a couple of laps here on the restart at Watkins Glen.
Neil Alberico spinning in turn 11, but he's towards the back of the field. Our concentration is up front, where Aaron Telitz continues to lead the way. Call it 8, 9 car lengths or so on Santi Urrutia. Then the 98, another 8 or 9, 10 car lengths back to Colton Herta. Things single file throughout the course of the field here as they make their way these waiting laps at Watkins Glen.
This is where Santi Urrutia gets ever so closer to Aaron Telitz. Now about 5 car lengths back as they get to the toe portion of this track. Very narrow, very tight. Aaron Telitz bobbles ever so slightly at the exit of the toe. Then it's Santi Urrutia closing it down to about a 5 car length gap. Colton Herta all by his lonesome. Then Mateus Laced, Nico Jamin, the rest of the field by and cleanly through the rest of the boot. But this time through, Nick Yeoman, Aaron Telitz with a commanding lead over Santi Urrutia.
Yeah, all those cars sliding around as Telitz is going to take the wide arcing angle through turn number 9 and then move that car to the bottom of the racetrack. The gap is about 3 or 4 car lengths over his teammate Santi Urrutia. We're going to see 5 laps to go as they exit turn number 11. We saw a spin a moment ago, Rob Howden, for Neil Alberico out of turn number 11. Good news is he was able to get that car to pit lane in front of you.
Yeah, that spin the result of contact for Alberico in the 22. He brought the car into pit lane. They had to do a wing change, damage to the right side of the front wing. They changed the wing, got him right back out, has not lost a lap. Good job with the Carlin crew to get Alberico back on the racetrack.
Mark Janes, the leader's gone way wide exiting turn number 1.
Yeah, I just think they're a little more comfortable going through there, especially with these wet tires. We have seen Urrutia do that throughout the course of this race. No question, though, Nick, while it may pay some dividends in terms of the line through there, what it does is if the guy running second, like Urrutia, decides not to do that, that allows him to, just by simple physics, to catch up with you. And day first, he's doing just that, or at least he was when he exited the S's.
I've seen all sorts of racing lines through the carousel. Looks like most of these guys are trying to find a little grip out here, but there's no doubt about it. Urrutia to the high side went way wide as he tries to make up a little ground on Aaron Telitz. I think he's done that now. Down to the chute, the left-hander. Look out. Here comes Santi Urrutia trying to pursue Aaron Telitz, Michael
Michael Young?
Well, the race fans have come out from underneath their shelters. The rain has subsided. The lighter skies have made their way over Watkins Glen International. And for Aaron Telitz, once he got the lead, has been in command of this race ever since the beginning. But this time by, Santiarrutia, ever so stronger, coming out of the toe, now attacks in the heel. He'll close that lead that Aaron Telitz had last time by of about 8 car lengths down to about 3 car lengths. Colton Herta all by himself in third. Then it's Matthias Leist in fourth. Nico Jamin fifth.
Boy, Davey, Santiarrutia is doing a great job. He is not letting Aaron Telitz run away and hide for this win.
You know, Telitz is taking a really peculiar line. I mean, I know he likes it. It's kind of a rain line, but he's really going way outside of that rubber or preferred line when it's dry. And you watch Urrutia, he's more inside of that. He's more on, like, one set of tires on that line. So seems like he's slowly gaining. Last time by, he had, he did. He had it. Well, they're about the same, about a half-second lead.
It was 1.4 seconds a second ago, Mark Jaynes. Now it's down to 0.6.
Little less pronounced at this time through turn number 1 for the leader, Aaron Telitz. But that's because he knows if he makes that wide swing, the 5 machine of Santiarrutia is there to pounce. Colton Herta has lost those 2. We think before this thing is done, Matthias Leist may actually have something for Colton Herta. That would be the battle for third. Meanwhile, the battle for first rages on toward day first.
Single file through the inner loop. Now they exit there and enter the carousel. Aaron Telitz still leads the way. Santiago Urrutia, call it 4 car lengths behind. Way back then is the 98 of Colton Herta. But Urrutia that time took more of a standard line through the carousel. But still, he's in hot pursuit of Aaron Telitz.
Surprised how strung out this field was after the restart. We expected Matthias Leist to be on the charge in that 4th position, attacking Colton Herta. That not the case, as Colton Herta's kind of checked out for Matthias Leist ever so slightly. The real battle is that for the lead. It's Aaron Telitz who's led from the start, and his teammate right behind him, Santiarrutia. This time down into the heel of the boot, about the exact same distance. 3 car lengths. Santiarrutia breaks extremely late into the turn, loses a little momentum, and Aaron Telitz starts to pull away.
Yeah, Davey, this is the part of the racetrack where Urrutia has been able to close as the 9 of Telitz going to take that wide angle again. That car gets a little sideways, but he's able to hold him off into turn 10.
Yeah, that one area, what I noticed, he goes completely off the racing line, and it's actually some more, the asphalt, or the concrete there, or asphalt I should say, is more coarse. So he probably gets a little more grip right out there, but it could be harder on his tires too. But with only 4 laps to go, 3 this time by, tires are going to not be an issue, I don't think.
Just 3 laps to go, and Aaron Telitz just set the fastest lap of the race. So Mark Jaynes, that leader's not going to sit and wait for Urrutia to pass him as he continues to stretch that lead out. 1 full second now into turn 1.
Urrutia had to tiptoe through turn number 1, and that allowed Telitz to pull away. We said last time by, Colton Herta would have company in that battle for third of the 26 of Matthias Leist. That has indeed happened. It's about 4 car lengths now for Colton Herta. They exit the S's while the lead battle heads toward the bus stop.
Towards the bus stop, a little less rooster tail that time by, so things are drying up in this area of the race course. Aaron Telitz now with a 10 car length lead on Santiago Urrutia. Further back then, Herta, he's going to be pressured by Matthias Leist. Leist is hard charged into that Carlin, number 26. Then it's Nico Jamin in 5th. Zachary Clayman DeMello still in 6th. Notice that Kyle Kaiser got around his teammate Nico DePero. He's running in 7th.
The 2017 season winding down for these Indy Lights drivers, a distinct line in the sole of the boot as Aaron Telitz makes his way out of the toe and runs down to the heel in turn number 8. Santiarrutia in close pursuit, but the real battle starting to heat up, that between third place running Colton Herta and Matthias Leist from Carlin Racing. He's closed that gap, what was once about 20 car lengths down to about 5 car lengths. Leist deep into the heel of the boot and now makes a good run on Colton Herta up into turn number 9.
Davey, Matthias Leist wants to grab a podium finish here at the end of the season. He has run down Colton Herta.
Yeah, it took him a little time to get going, it seems like, but you see Colton's car really sliding around, where Leist, his car's pretty solid. He's got it behind him, but now it's going to be much more difficult to pass him in wet conditions than it would be dry.
We're watching that battle for the lead with 2 to go. We're watching that battle for third. We're also keeping an eye on our champion, Kyle Kaiser, who runs in 7th. Up front, though, Mark Jaynes, Aaron Telitz, and Santi Urrutia into turn 1 with 2 to go.
Again, entry, exit, cleaner for Telitz than Urrutia, and that allows the leader to start inch away, little by little by little. There goes Aaron Telitz. There goes Santi Urrutia. Last time by, Matthias Laced had pulled to within 3 car lengths of Colton Herta. This time it's about 10, so clearly that battle's starting to shake itself out just a little bit. The front 4 head down the back straightaway.
Even less spray this time around. This track definitely drying up. Still no pronounced gray areas, not dry per se, but it is still a little damp as Aaron Telitz makes his way down the chute, followed by Urrutia. Herta is still being pressured a bit by Matthias Laced, not quite what it was in that previous lap. Then it's Nico Jamin in 5th, Zachary Clayman DeMello working his way around it, but it's heading your way, Michael Young. How's that battle for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd?
Well, if Santi Urrutia wants to get it done, he better get on his giddy up. He's through the toe now, but Aaron Telitz has widened that gap. It's about a 1-second lead now for Aaron Telitz over his teammate Santi Urrutia. Urrutia allows those left sides to get out in one of the wetter portions of the sole of this boot, and that cost him. He really lost a lot of time as he makes his way through the heel of the boot, and now up the hill in 9. Telitz pulls away. Colton Herta slowly through the heel of the boot. Matthias Laced in hot pursuit, but he'll drop back a couple of car lengths as well.
Boy, Telitz went really wide there, Davey, through turn 9 as he's trying to bookend his season with a pair of wins.
Wow, that was an interesting line, wasn't it? It's like, wow, he drove in too deep, but he may be intentionally going up that high in that particular corner, just found some extra grip right now, has a nice lead coming to the white flag right now of 1.9 seconds, although it was 2.5 last time by.
White flag is out here at Watkins Glen as Aaron Telitz's gap is nearly 2 seconds, Mark Janes. Final lap for Aaron Telitz.
Yeah, it's grown. All he has to do is hit his marks and keep the car underneath him. Aaron Telitz living by the old adage, you're only as good as your last race. If that's the case, it's going to be an enjoyable offseason for the driver of the number 9. Still in pursuit, the 5 of Santi Urrutia. Day first, your leader is headed toward the bus stop.
Urrutia's lost a lot of ground now. I'll tell you what, though, Mark James, if you win at Watkins Glen, I think you've accomplished something. I just see some of those who did it in the bigger cars. Names like Graham Hill, Jim Clark, Bobby Unser, Rick Mears, Scott Dixon. Well, Colt, check that. Aaron Telitz hopes one day, well, he can return and add to that list. Right now, he has got this field in tow. Heading your way, Michael Young. Here comes Aaron Telitz.
Our 2016 Pro Mazda champion trying to bookend the season. Just 1 weekend to go at Gateway. He sat on pit lane for the entire race. Damage to that car. A very dejected Aaron Telitz. Completely different this weekend here at Watkins Glen. He makes his way through the sole of the boot for the final time. Aaron Telitz in that number 9 Bilardi Auto Racing machine through the heel of the boot for the final time. Climbing up the hill, just 3 turns to go. Further back in the field, the battle for 3rd heats up. Colton Herta and Matthias Laced, they nearly touch in the heel of the boot. That's going to be a great battle for 3rd, Nick Gilman.
Yeah, they were going to race out of turn number 9 as Laced is just a couple car lengths back. But up front, it is the number 9 of Aaron Telitz through turn number 10. Sets up for the right-hander of turn number 11. Here he comes. He's going to start the season with a win. He's going to end the season with a win as well. Twin checkered flags for Aaron Telitz. He'll win the finale here at Watkins Glen as Santi Urrutia comes across the line in 2nd place. Further back, it looks like Colton Herta is going to hold off Matthias Laced for 3rd. And now we look for our championship winner, Kyle Kaiser. An unbelievably consistent season as he makes his way through turns 10 and 11. He'll slowly bring that car through the final couple corners. Through turn number 10, Kyle Kaiser, 3 wins on the season. He won 3 poles as well, and it's going to result in the biggest prize in the Indy Lights Series. Out of turn number 11, here comes your champion, Kyle Kaiser.
Kyle Kaiser, you really got the job done last weekend at Gateway Motorsports Park, but it's true now. It's done. You've won the Indy Lights Championship. Give me your thoughts as you came across the line.
It feels surreal right now. I mean, after that performance, I don't feel like celebrating right now, to be honest, but I'm over the moon right now. This is amazing.
Thoughts on next year? Is it going through your head yet about the IndyCar program, the Indianapolis 500, or you'll kind of look back a little bit at what you've been able to accomplish?
I mean, it's been a crazy year. I mean, we had a lot of highs. We had some lows later in the season, but we got the job done when the job needed to get done. So I'm excited, and now I'm going to start planning for next year.
How about this Juncos racing team? What a job.
They've done amazing, absolutely amazing. I've been with them for 4 years now. Started off with them in Pro Mazda, and they've totally developed me into the driver I am and made me a champion. So I've not enough nice things to say about Juncos.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.